Hello again. As I've aged, I've become more sentimental, especially about things that belong to family who have passed away. I have at home a number of things made by my father, my grandfather, and even my great-grandfather, and I keep them in the hope that when I'm gone, my family will also value them. Some of them are not of great value as far as money goes, but their connection to family is what I treasure. They're a link to the past, a link that keeps the past in the present, and for my family, an ongoing legacy. We see this so much in the world today. Banks keep money in safes, valuable paintings in art galleries, other valuable items also in museums, and some even under heavy glass and security guards. They're seen as important artefacts that are linked to people and places. Every Anzac Day, people wear the medals of their deceased loved ones who fought in the wars. Those medals are valuable. They're treasured because of who they represent, and they're kept in a safe place the rest of the year. Marie Altman was a Jewish refugee who fled to America during World War II. She was from a very wealthy Jewish family who lived in Austria. Before she fled for her life, she witnessed the theft by the Nazis of all their valued possessions, including a Stradivarius violin, many valuable works of art, and a portrait of her beloved aunt that had been painted but with gold leaf by a famous artist, Gustav Klimt. It had been rehoused in the art gallery in Germany. Many years later, still living in America, she convinced a young lawyer to help her to regain possession of this portrait of her aunt. Eventually, with all the avenues exhausted, they had to take the Austrian government to court. This was an extremely risky and complicated exercise, but they did it, and they won. What an amazing win that was for her. She then sold the portrait to a museum in New York for $135 million. Following that, she paid her lawyer and then donated the rest of the money to charity. You see, the fight was never about the money that the painting was worth. It was about her aunt, who she spent so much time with and learnt so much from. It belonged to her, and it was something that she treasured. We all crave immortality. We want to be remembered for what we've done and who we were. But we too often look at it from an earthly perspective. And we will all attain immortality, because after this life comes eternal life, comes the immortal. But our immortality will be based on what God values, not on what the world, or sometimes we, have valued. Diamonds are valued on earth very highly, and it's almost every girl's dream to have a big diamond. But interestingly enough, God puts absolutely no value on diamonds at all. Precious stones are mentioned in the Bible, but diamonds are not one of them. In Revelation 21, we read that the New Jerusalem will have 12 precious foundation stones. They are jasper, sapphire, agate, emerald, onyx, carnelian, yellow quartz, beryl, topaz, chalcedony, turquoise, and amethyst. And the 12 gates will be 12 pearls, no diamonds. God does not see diamonds as valuable. In Matthew 6, we get a hint of what God sees as valuable and what needs to be treasured. Straight away we read that the material things we strive to keep safe are not what God values. Treasures in heaven are what we need to be storing up. And briefly, these treasures are, firstly, living our lives for God is what is valued to God, based on following the example of Jesus and seeking God's kingdom first, sharing the good news of God's love, living by the 10 Commandments, and then He will give us everything we need. Another thing God values is giving to the poor and needy. Isaiah 58 says that we free those who are wrongly imprisoned, let the oppressed go free, remove the chains that bind people, share your food with the hungry, give shelter to the homeless, give clothes to those who need them. And then he says there's a reward for that. And the reward is that the glory of the Lord will protect you from behind. In fact, Jesus sums it all up in one verse when he said, in Mark 12:30 and 31, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. The second command is this, love your neighbour as yourself. That sums up how we live a life that God sees as valuable. One songwriter has summed up in these words, Lord, you are more precious than silver. Lord, you are more costly than gold. Lord, you are more beautiful than diamonds, and nothing I desire compares with you. I'd like to conclude with a short story. One day, a miserable rich man visited a rabbi who took him by the hand and led him to a window. Look out there, he said, what do you see? I see men, women and children, said the rich man. The rabbi took him to a mirror. What do you see? I see myself. Then the rabbi said, in the window there is glass, and in the mirror there is glass. But the glass of the mirror is covered with a little silver. And no sooner is the silver added than you stop seeing others, but see only yourself. May God help us not to be distracted or deceived by what the world values, but to live our lives based on what God values. Thanks. Have a great day.